Hey, my name's Donald Brink. Welcome to the weirdness. These are things I've made. Hey, my name's Donald Brink. Hey, my name's Donald Brink. Welcome to the weirdness. Hi, I'm Donald Brink. Welcome to the weirdness. People ask why weird. I built these things, I know them intimately, and they just become normal. Spending so much time building something, but it's not weird to be different or to be noticed, that's for sure. I enjoy challenging hydrodynamic principles and things that aren't supposed to work, to find new ground, to search for new joys, and perhaps find things that could open up new opportunities. And it looks weird, but to me it's calculated and balanced assembly of elements. Pretty fun too. There's many mistakes. A lot of things don't work and don't work at all. You learn from those, and perhaps it's easier to learn from the things that don't work. And there's a list of things that you can glean from things that do, but maybe easier from those that don't. And together, being open to learning, being honest with what really does work and bring joy, and therefore you move forward with those learnings. When it comes, it's building something and then using it. Those things are happening. But when it comes to surfing, it's entirely based around the things that you take away, those feelings, call it stoke. That's what it's about, and that's okay. And leveraging that and finding the feeling that you cannot do without with by virtue of design and building something. Maybe it's weird, maybe it looks different, but if it works efficiently to you, that's okay, that's enough. And I really treasure that, you know? The whole thing being based around a feeling, it's fine. It's fine. Thinking body surfing on this one, really fun to build, and all offcuts, foam and fiberglass. And the initial thought was to ride it like this, which didn't work at all. But this worked incredibly well. And I need to rebuild this. Learned a lot, some epic fails, but that'll be fun. Look forward to doing this one again. And just fun to have something with you in the sea while you're swimming. This little guy was really birthed out of a concept of eternal rocker. Like just imagining rocker going on forever, and almost an Ouroboros effect just ends in itself. I'd been studying the concept of Möbius strips at the time. But very simple surfboard, just playing with the concept of rocker never ending. It's happening on the bottom over here, creating a textural pattern. I think there's lots to be explored in the bottom textural finishes of a surfboard. Fins, of course, is a world to be learned. This little guy, it's actually my most recent build in this being in the ocean with the craft rather than just surfing on top of the water. And if you imagine a hot curl of yesteryear, updated and creating hold, so the water will come round, imagining the water will come round and hold onto the round surface and then hold again. So I'm imagining standing up here somewhere, going faster than you've ever been, but matching a wave's pace as it slows down and speeds up, and that'll be the hold. Gonna learn a lot from trying this. entirely to teach people things about how to surf, myself included. And I hate wide surfboards, but there was an idea of having something that was stable enough to be enjoyed on, be able to get in and train essentially on very weak waves, and yet a pulled in tail. And it does, it's got a force, what's the right words? It's got a very fast feedback loop, and it tells you exactly when your technique is off, and you got to fix your arms, your legs, your knees, and then get on a normal board and surf. So almost this board is a training wheel built to learn to surf. This little guy I built. This is number 9 of this outline that I've been trying for years, and it was the first time that I got rid of all the tubby, extra, excessive volume and chipped it out. In other words, a more profile and dimension, real small rails. And this board surprised me, it worked really well. But what happened was, I thought there was more left to be had. And you can see the evolution of the outline with some, once again, textural finishes in the bottom and radical release incorporated in the wing. This board wasn't supposed to work, and I had to try it though. I had to explore. And now I've got to keep going, because this worked even better than that board. So this is exciting and very surprising, this board. What's funny is some boards, they look a certain way in their perception of how they would ride. This one couldn't be further removed from how it looks to how it rides. You do not remember what you're surfing when you ride this board. And that to me is important. You need to ride the wave, not the board. Well, at least that's the common theme I'm after. Which leads to this little guy. And this was just once again back to body surfing and imagining I could swim with a concave in front of me and then my chest. It worked fairly well. I was worried I was going to break my legs off. I do enjoy body surfing, and it's fun to swim with craft. This one was envisioned as a really long planing surface that you can both paddle, duck dive and swim with, but essentially just body surfing. And you've got a round hot curl tail hold. So it makes you 9'8" long, but you're swimming in the sea. Oops. So the slot rail was things I'd been working on with some of the big wave boards for Ben Wilkinson. And it's a rail in a rail, trying to be able to get a gutter effect with the water flow shooting down the middle. And it sure does that. And it's a purchase, you get to get your fingers in there. It added a rigid component to the board to really stiffen it up. It was really actually a challenge to see if I could build them, and I built the guns and it was glassable, meaning, oh, I could do that again. So one thing leads to another. It's like, well, if that was possible, then maybe this is possible. Using the same materials, it's foam and fiberglass. I'm the same guy in the same shop, and you start building these surf craft that end up being pieces that are way more sculptural maybe, and yet they're designed for a specific purpose in the ocean, but they almost seem to live in an adjacent world and maybe on a more of a art perception. But it's really fun just to challenge yourself and show the diversity of what you're working with, and it's helped make my normal boards, it's helped to make them better. And just playing with the same ingredients is really, it brings an energy to any board and a reverence to the materials, because you don't want to waste them, but you also need to learn to play. And this little guy, this board is really old. I think my daughter was 2 when I built this, so that was 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And imagining, after conversations with Mickey Munoz and body surfing, and how much of your rib cage was interacting with the water. I thought if I could have a concave under my rib cage and lay into the wave going left, but then I could lay into the wave and go right. So it had a flip-flop concept. Essentially it's a symmetrical board, but that's your bilateral symmetry. And the biggest problem was you could not duck dive in powerful surf. So I made thinner versions, and those worked really well. And you could stand on them too, which was rewarding. But there's a special little place in my heart for this, because it was a time to commit to materials and time, investing it, building it, testing it, trying it. Being able to draw something and really hold yourself accountable to what you're trying to build and set out the design elements for which you're trying to solve, challenge, or address, that's been really, really helpful to keep myself honest, to really furthering the experience and the feelings we're chasing for a specific design. That's been really helpful. Always willing to embrace new materials, and this is the flax from the electric acid stab project for Dave Rustovich last year, and it was a shame he broke that board, but once again applied myself to experiment with new materials, and from that I learned from what failed, and this is where we are today. Same board, which I'd never built before, but getting the feedback and watching somebody of his caliber riding a board that you built, that is not lost on me. And it really helps build confidence into applying yourself and your thoughts into anything you're building. And then you land up with something like this, which is, if you can't envision yourself having fun and not taking yourself seriously in the ocean on this, then we probably won't be hanging out. But man, that was fun to ride. And there's zero drive because there's no square tail, but the board actually works really well. It's not that boards don't work well, but it's just fun. If you think about the things that you've ridden, that you've loved the most, that would be things that worked well, or you forgot what you were doing and you get lost in the experience, a ride or surf, and that's a sensory download that you get to enjoy. And those boards you keep coming back to, and you're not even sure why you love it, but it just works, and you forget what you're doing and you're lost in the moments. That's the goal. And once you build something that's a little different and it brings that, you can't, well, I guess you can deny it and leave it and move on or go back. But I just keep pulling on those threads, and it's led to places where it's kind of embarrassing because you look so weird on these odd boards maybe, but they just feel so good. And so I'm not stopping, and it opens up new opportunities. So this is along the lines of that narrow one we just looked at, but if you just think back far enough, you'll land up at an Olo. Boards were narrow to begin with. So this one is actually entirely hollow, just a chambered poplar version, paying homage to the Olo from whence we all started. And it was important to build this in the simplest version, meaning the single fin, and that was number 9, so it was single, tri, quad, twin, and yet the most efficient results were on the thruster, which was so rewarding to have explored them all. So it just felt wrong not to go all the way back and do a wooden version with a single fin. Being on these creators trips, watching somebody else work, whether it's shooting film or photo or sculpting or shaping or glassing, it's not what they're doing but how they're doing it that I learn so much from. And cross-training, trying other things is really helpful. I don't know why, maybe it's challenging these little puzzles in your mind, but building weird stuff with the same materials has done the same thing. Just being free to play, and it elevates anything I'm building or painting or working on. There's something in that creative balance it's good to observe, cross-train and push yourself.